Hey Langley.
What?
Your coffee's ready.
Well done, you skinny wench.
Oh, you haven't got that on again.
Shut up.
Stop being grumpy.
Not being grumpy. Bar humbug, boys and girls. It's the season of goodwill. Or is it? Yes, it is.
Wait. Matron, take them away.
And a warm welcome to one and all. Yes, it's in the Scruffy house, so it must be coffee with Scruff. And behind me is Wonder Wink making the coffee. How good is she?
It's coffee time! Coffee, 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 coffee! Cappuccino! Java, yes!
Here you go, Scrooge.
Thank you very much. What do you mean, Scrooge? You get everything you want.
Bar humbug.
Shut up. It's that time of the year where she proper goes on one as well. And why? Well, we got grandkids and we love Christmas.
I said next, goddammit. This is not the DMV, all right? Move it along.
But it's a good time for reflection. And that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to jump on my computer and kind of show you a little project that I'm going to be doing next year. And the very reason I'm doing it is kind of the season of goodwill. Because it's very easy to get caught up in the hype of trading. And you'll see it all the time with the flashy lights and one thing and another. But the unattainable goals. So I'm going to try and show you something, certainly over the next 6 months, that can be attainable. And hopefully bring you the presents that you want. Let's go upstairs and find out.
Well, we're waiting.
Okay guys, so what am I banging on about? Giving you something to give you presents. Well, I was having a bit to think this week. Let me take my hat. It's a bit hot. It's getting a bit hot. But I like to be daft and I like to be silly. Why? Because in times of reflection, that's how it calms my mind. And obviously during the week, you see me trade a lot. And if you've never been on this channel before, you see a lot of my live trades. Because I trade in the moment. But I have a good size account for my personal living. But it took me years to get there. And I think sometimes in the YouTube world, and certainly the sort of trading world, it's perceived that you're going to be there very quickly. Now, you can, but not normally. It took me a good couple of years to build up an account, even though I knew what I was doing.
What?
Now, there are ways around that. You can use prop firms, which I'm going to touch on. Or you could just be a high net worth individual and have a decent amount to put in the first place.
You're taller than I imagined.
I'm bigger in every department.
But not a lot of people do. So what I'm going to concentrate on, certainly going forward, is kind of show you how to build an account. Because I think that's better. I think that's more realistic to your expectation. And what that is a gift. Because if you build it up each month and you took half of the profits out, well, it's more money than you had when you started with, so you could buy yourself something. That's the general gist.
Isn't that logical?
Now, I do watch a lot of traders of sorts sometimes, not as much as I used to. And I'm seeing there's a lot of imitators now, believe it or not, imitating me. You know, they certainly use the terminology that I use. Now, the terminology I use is mine. It's not industry standard. It's just something that comes from me. And certainly the way that I do my videos. I do my videos sort of ad hoc. During the week, it's all rough and ready because I can't plan it. There can be no planning, which is why I don't script anything. Because what you see is what you get. It's raw in the moment. And if you follow it, you'll see that I actually tell the guys in the Discord, etc., what I'm doing before I go to market. That's my USP. That's my unique sort of point, because I can do this as a job. I prove it day in, day out. So how can you do it? Well, let's have a little look, shall we? Now, I'm going to go through a very small account in a moment. But if you are going to go to market, kind of two ways you're going to do it. You can go on to a broker, which you may well need. Well, you do need, not may well. A broker of choice for me is Black Bull. And I'll show you for why, and this will make sense in a moment. If you've got a small amount of money, it isn't going to go far in the Forex market. It really isn't, because it's very expensive to get into products. So you need leverage. Black Bull are one of the few that will give you 500 to 1 leverage. And you don't need a big amount to go into it. You know, you can just drop $50, $100 into it, and the leverage will allow you to open up positions. And especially because the spreads start at 0. Don't get any cheaper than that, and they work on the industry standard MT5. MT5 platforms, if you haven't seen them, look like this. It's a platform that will look like that. Very versatile, got loads of tools. You can put all your levels in. You've got more indicators than you can shake a stick at. Everything you need is here, and you can build it up and customize it. Like mine, I put all my alpha watches in. If I want to see what the pound is up to, I can look at all of the pounds in a flick. And why? Well, because I've got the ability of a good broker behind me. Now you can trade shares on this, you can trade indices, you can trade Forex. So if you don't want to go the route of prop, that's where you want to be. You want to be aligning with a broker that has a good leverage on it. But the leverage is buying power just to open up instruments, not to be used to increase your position size. This is where things get a little bit sticky, because if you over leverage an account and your position size is too big, you will blow it instantly.
Making me out!
So there's a big difference, which kind of leads us over into the prop world. Now, I like prop. I've passed it numerous times, and my company of choice is the 5%ers. And just so that you can see exactly where we're up to on this, this is some of my stats. And from that, I'm paid quite well each month. You know, it doesn't make me a millionaire or anything like that. It just means I've got a nice little bit extra on top of my salary. But how do you do it? Well, again, this is split into two sides. If you like the Forex world and you're pretty good at trading, well, you've got instant funds that you've got access to. This is what I use. Is instant funding. This one. Very cheap to get in. You've got 6 months in order to pass your evaluation, which is essentially 1% a month. You've got time on your side. Then you get your funded account. There's a best profit split, and away you go. If you're interested, there is links for these. Everything I talk about in the description below. And on the 5%ers, the link will give you 5% off. Just as a little bit extra. But what they've done, which kind of triggered this as well, is they recognize that not a lot of people have a lot of money. And sometimes you might only have $100, 100 euros, 100 pounds, whatever it is, to go into market. But it's not going to last long in the market, or your position size is going to be incredibly small. You know, you've got £100, your position size is about 10, 20 pence a pip. You know, doesn't sound a lot, but if you do $1 every day on 100, which is what I'm going to get to in just a second, it adds up. And not only does it add up, it compounds. And that compounding can help you amazingly. So what else have they done? Well, they've just reintroduced the boot camp with a new launch. It's always been there, so I shouldn't really say reintroduced. What they've done is they've revamped it, because it used to be a 100k boot camp where you did 3 challenges and then you get a 100k account and you had a profit split thereafter. Well, what they've done is they've increased the profit split on them and sort of did a little bit of tinkering with it. And they've also increased the boundaries you can have. So let's just say you've got $500 to play with. $500. Well, you can either take the 100k or the 200k, and they're not that expensive, because there you go, 95 euros or 225. Okay? You can buy a prop, have it working in the background. You can put 150, another 200 into a normal broker, like what I've just shown you, and run them in tandem. So whatever you're doing on one, you can do on the other, because they both use MT5. And you can use the profits to sort of complement each other as well. So say you've only got a small amount, you can spend some time on the low-cost boot camp. When it pays out, you can put that profit into your own broker and then run them tandem. Or you can build it up and buy a prop. There's many ways you can do it, you know. In other words, not putting all of your eggs in one basket.
Who'd be stupid enough to do that?
Justify, stupid.
So how else can this work? What if you've really only got a very, very small amount and you can't really trade your own and trade prop at the same time? Well, that's where maybe share dealing can take over. And this idea came from the 5%ers. I recently had met them in London and had a wonderful meeting and met Michael. And Michael's really into stock trading. And there's another part of the 5%ers that they've introduced, which is this: trade the pool, which is stock trading. And not only did it sort of spark my interest when I was talking to him, it also gave me a light bulb moment of, actually, you could use a small set of shares over a very sort of 3-month period to buy yourself enough money to buy an instant funding Forex account. Or, if you like the shares, stay with share trading in this program and trade shares, keep the profits. Now, it's done in a strange way, this, because when you're over in the US, they have different sort of rules, patent rules, etc. Because this is coming from a single pot and you're just sort of like taking a little bit of it, it eliminates a lot of that. But it makes it easier. But it also means it doesn't matter what type of trader you are. The 5%ers can give you that. But this is where we're going to roll back into the gift. Because even though I've shown you this, I'm not very good at shares. I'm not very good at them at all. So I wanted to understand it first. And for me, I have to understand what's under the hood. I have to understand the engine. And I thought, well, I'll do it myself with a small amount of money.
It's a tiny piece of paper. Okay, that's all it is. Tiny piece of paper.
And then I found, doing it over the last sort of little while, that I can actually generate good profits. And I can recycle those good profits into other things, which was the premise of this little chat. Now, if you are already into shares, you're pretty good at share trading, they have a demo. You can just go in, do some paper trading for 14 days, try it. If you think you're successful, sign up. And again, you're going to make some decent money. Simple. But let's roll back to the fact that you don't have any money. I'm going to show you something where you can start trading for literally next to nothing.
No way!
But there's one element that you need. And you must have this, guys, because if you don't, you fail before you start. Patience. And let me explain. Right. So, now I've had a little monologue about that sort of thing. Let me show you something. Now, some people are going to laugh and they're going to turn off at this point.
Bring on the dancing girls. Get rid of this idiot. Fuck you. Off.
A week ago, you might have seen a video where I said I was going to do a grand experiment. I was working things out. Well, that grand experiment is here. I put 118 quid into a broker account, live broker account, as you can see. And the aim was just to see if I could find things out. Well, it's already given me dividends of £2.85. And it has running profits currently within it for $8.23 off 118. So the ROI on that, the return on investment, already is massive. There's not a bank in the land would give you that. But this is where it gets a bit interesting. Let me show you. Just switch this over. So this is the account. And you can sort of think, well, it's just a chart. It is just a chart. Well, let's have a look and see how many positions I've got running. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 positions open from a balance of 118. In the Forex world and in sort of the commodities world, if you're trading gold and silver, etc., you'd be lucky to open 1 position. And you are all or nothing. You're at the mercy of it all the time. In this experiment, because the margin requirements are so small, and we are talking down into sort of just a couple of quid, so you could start dealing shares for less than £20, and you could open up some assets and then just build it. And then if you close that asset with £1 profit, well, then you're starting with 21. And slowly it builds up, but it's a snowball effect. As they build, they get bigger. And the bigger they get, either the more shares you can open, or you can increase the bid size on the shares. Because that's the other thing. Look at the position size, the bid size. All right, some of them are just 10p, 30p, 50p, £1, 90 pence, 80 pence, £1. So the position sizes are pretty darn big in relation to the account. So it doesn't take a lot of movement to get the percentages up. Okay. Now I'm going to fill this in on a spreadsheet that I'm tracking this on, and it might highlight this. Now this is the sheet. Now we started it last week in November. That was my starting balance, 118.54. We've had positions out of it already 32p, which you'll see that in a second, giving me a balance of 121 away. All right, now I need to update this, and I also need to sort of maybe add in an extra column, which I'll put in here. I haven't quite decided what to put in it yet, whether it's a percentage of growth, etc., but it's work in progress. Well, let me show you where we're up to. At this moment, there's the positions. None of them have fully closed out yet. So I don't know what my holding time is, but they've been running for 7 days up to now. These are the splits. In other words, every time it comes to a level, taking a little bit off and letting the rest run. And this is how much those splits were worth. So for argument's sake, I'll take 5p off the position and let it run. So you're kind of left with 40p or 45p, whatever the split is. And it helps. But let's just drop in these current balances. Let me just open this up on the other screen so I'm not jumping backwards and forwards like a lunatic. And then I'll come back to it. So, Mitchell Bullers is a balance of 4-4. Chariot is 107. 107. Assura is minus 134. Oops. Minus 134. On the beach, 784. 784. Brown Group, 195. 195. Sport Tech, 3p. Amazing. 3. Central Nick is minus 211. New River Retail 234. 234 and London Sugar minus 27. Okay. So what have we got here? What's this look like in real terms? Well, please tell me a bank that would not only guarantee you 2.4% increase in a week, but have a running profit of 8.1. Now, every time these move into profit, I look to move the stop up. There's a few of them I'll be doing when the markets are open on Monday because they've come to play. And I'll show you that in just a second. You do pay overnight charges on these, but again, it's minimal. It's 32 pence. So on this balance that we started with, and we started it here in November on the 24th, as you can see, didn't take any money out of it at all. All the positions were just left going. I don't put that balance in at the end of the month. I take it out simply because it would affect what's going on here. All right, don't want to throw that out. So I delete that and then just look at the current balances going. All right, but I'll leave these in. So personally, I think the profit is pretty darn good. In fact, it's super good. And I'm very pleased with it. So let's just drop this back just half a second. Okay, and come back to this. There is the running profits that I've just dropped in so that we can see it. Now here's a one here. The green box just means that I've already scaled some money out of it, and that was where it got up to. So from an entry point of here, there's the stop down here, that got scaled out because it closed above the level. All right, and I was quite happy with that. But with this, I can't do it now because the markets are shut. But the first thing I'll do when they open is I'll pull that stop up here somewhere. All right. Oh, just let me do it. Happy days. Happy days. It's all new to me. So there we go. Stops into place. Okay. So this can't lose now. In fact, while it's there, if it's allowing me to do it, let's have a look, see what the others are. So, boom, 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 boom. So Sugar's in a loss, can't do anything with that. River, how are we doing with it? Well, this one, we're actually moving our profits up. So when that gets above that level, I'll move that box up there, take some off, happy days. But its stop is there, it's ratcheting. But I'm going to leave it there and let it trail up behind. I want it to be a reasonable wide stop for it to move backwards and forwards. Central Nick is negative. It's still got some to go. How are we doing on this? Can we move this any further up? Yes, we can. So we can put that there. Can't lose anything now on the Chariot. What about this? That's in negative. That one we can't lose on. Sport Tech. 3p, not a lot. And there we are. All right. So that's it. We done and dusted. Do I have any orders running? No. That's all that's running. And then yesterday, that was the dividends or the little carve points from those shares. So what's all this got to do with a slice of bread? How did I do it in the first place? Well, as you might have noticed with, oops, we'll launch that. This is Pro Real Time. I'm going to switch this over onto another screen. Give me just a second while it wakes up. And this is how I find the shares. Because if you noticed on Trade the Pool, what it had, there we go, it's opened up, was 12,000 shares. How the hell do you work out 12,000 shares? Now with Forex, it's relatively easy. There's 28 major miners, so you can scan through them. They're very easy to filter out. You can filter out by an ATR, and you can filter out by spread. Now my kind of version is 5 or 6 is about the limit of spread I'm willing to take, and if I'm day trading, it wants to be less than 3. You know, ideally less than 2.5. And if it's not, I won't look at it because the movements are too small. When you're looking to do 100 to 200 pip move in Forex, 5 pips is neither here nor there, but I don't want to get into the realms of 20 pips and 30 pips like some of the exotics. So it's not difficult to filter everything. However, with shares, and as you saw, the colossal amount of them, very difficult. So you need a share screener, and that's why I use Pro Real Time. It's free. Just sign yourself up, and what it gives you is what's called a end of day filter, and that's all you need for shares. Just what happened yesterday, what do I expect to happen today, and then I'm looking to hold these things for however long, and it's dead simple. Then you set up some simple filters. So I've got them all there. So I could say, right, the Golden Cross AIM shares, didn't pull anything out from yesterday. And then you've got these, and then you can just drill in and go, well, I quite like the look of that chart. Why do I like the look of this chart? Well, I can see it's coming up to a level here. Had a strong drive. You can see that there's a steady incline. Is this looking to reverse and move back up? Well, if it breaks that structure point, well, yes, it does. And then you've got this section here as a target. Well, that's a decent move all the way up. Genuinely is. You know, happy days. You'll have to bear with me. I'm not the best with Pro Real Time. But to give you an idea of, there you are. That's an 8% increase. Just moving up to that point. Now, how long will it take to get there? Well, it might take a week. Might take 2 weeks, but it will be an 8% increase. Something worth having. What else have we got? UK shares, 2. Dead simple. Click it into there. Do I like that chart? Not really. It doesn't look very good. I like that chart. Like that chart. That looks nice. Could do that. Solid drop. Indecision. Within an upward move. You already can see the upward move here. You can see all that was there was a gap fill. So it came down, pushed away. It's going to fill the gap. Little retracement. Doesn't make any new lows. That could be a decent share moving up. And again, you start doing out your cost analysis. How much would this be? Well, if I'm getting in up here, I have my risk under there, small, and I'm going to go back to spreadsheet in a second. I'm going to show you something, and that stop might be minimal, really minimal. Let me show you. This back onto there. each one of these investments is based on the stop. Now, the margin requirement is based on however much the asset costs to get into it. I'll give you an example in just a second. But as you can see, you're only putting a very small amount. Now, some of them I have to worry about, which was that, but it looked really good, which is why I was willing to put that in. You know, that is incredibly high and probably too high, because I want it to be sub 10% of investment for each share. Ideally between 2 and 5%, you know. But if I think it's worth it and all the ducks are in alignment, sometimes I'll take a punt. Why? Just to increase that. But if I got it wrong, it's a very small amount of money. So let's have a look, see what a margin requirement is before we kind of roll this up a little bit. Down into here. I'm not sure whether it'll show you, but trades cross. So if we're going to buy some London sugar, let's have a look, see how much that is. I think that's pretty cheap. There you are, 10 pence, and your margin is £5, just £5. So there's a share that you can open up for £5. So if you had £20 in your account, you can open up for £5, and then you can just put a small position on, run it for 10 points, and get £1. If you got £1 off your fiver, that's a good return on investment. Bank won't give you that. And that's what I'm driving at all the way. Just return on investment. So there you go, guys. It's kind of an odd video of Coffee with Scruff, this, because I just wanted to give you an update as to what that share dealing was about, but also to maybe fire up your little light bulb moment into thinking, well, I haven't got a lot of money. Doesn't mean to say I can't trade. And that's the way forward. So shares, very easy. End of day, screener, very simple setup. I've shown all the guys in the Scruffy squad how to do this. It's very, very simple, but you can use the simplest system in the world. Golden Cross, it's a very tried and tested system. And basically it's a 50 moving average above a 200. That's your lot, you know. Getting into a trade is very easy. Managing the trade is the hard part. But you can manage that up, say from £20 to £100. Now you've got enough to buy a prop firm for £95. And then you can use that £95. You buy your prop, your boot camp, and you hone your skill from the lessons you've learned trading up to it. And then when it pays you out, it gives you a good lump of money at the end of that. You know, if you start getting into your payouts, they are paid quite well if your performance is good. You can then recycle that over into another account and run 2 accounts together. You know, and then as that one's paying you, you can have one as investment and one as income. And you might even want to go, well, I quite fancy the shares as well, you know, because I enjoyed building up the share account. You go trade the pool. So not only have you got your little share account that you started with, and you can always practice on that as well, because you're not putting a lot at risk. Have your boot camp built up, so you've got a little bit of income coming in. You can build up a normal broker like Black Bull, and you can have that as investment, and then you can have your shares on trade the pool as another income, so you haven't got all your eggs in one basket. Very, very simple. And how would you do this? Well, if you do an end of day charts, as I've just shown you, it takes about an hour a day to do your swing trades. Not even an hour a day, to be honest, half an hour. But say you put an hour a day at the end of the day, go through, You can set all your day trades up. You don't need to look at it again till the end of the next day. But even on some of these shares, probably only need to look at them once a week, if that. And then you can have one account, your boot camp rather, is your day trades, so that your mind isn't all boggled. That's how I run my accounts. I run multiple accounts. My wages from a day trading account, and that's it. What I do on that, I'll copy into prop. Very, very simple. And then the rest of them is all end of day, working on a daily chart, and I don't stress out. And that pays for my car, my pension, and anything that goes wrong in the house, you know. And that's it.
Good job.
So what I'm going to do for the next 6 months going forward is kind of do updates on this and try to inspire you to keep trading and show you that trading can be done from a small amount rather than the norm of, oh, look, I can make 40 grand a month.
You ding dong!
Give it to me again.
You ding dong!
You can, but not the way they tell you. It's just wrong. If you keep it realistic, 100 quid a day, 50 quid a day, and then build on that, you'll get there. But if you come into this thinking you're going to get £1,000 a day, 2,000 a day, it's not that simple. It really isn't that simple. And you're probably destined to fail. You know, it's a job, professional job. And if you treat it as such, it'll pay you as such. So I cherish your thoughts. If you've liked it, do click the like. If you don't like it, fine. Click the dislike. Either way, it motivates me to do more. And if you want to see more, drop a comment. I answer every single one of them personally. And if you are stuck, all of my contact details are in the description below. And I answer every inquiry that comes in. I might be able to give you the right answer, but I will talk to you. And if you're really interested in trading, and I mean really interested, and you want to be part of a community that will genuinely push each other forward, do come down into the Scruffy squad. We'll make you most welcome. And in there, this isn't for sale to the general public, and it's not to be released to the general public. There's the way of the scruff of how I trade. And you'll see exactly how I trade, from building up an idea, how I enter the markets, how I manage the markets, and how I get out of the markets, but also how I manage my accounts as well. Because believe it or not, pressing the button just because you happen to switch the computer on is the last part of the puzzle. And if you think for a second that if this indicator says go up there and that one says go down there, it's time to go, it's not quite that simple, you know. So as always, guys, trade well, keep the risk managed, but above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.